Well, actually, about 2 years ago, we used to be this band called the Maims, a completely different lineup. And we used to play pretty heavy music. We decided it was time for a change. We actually saw an audition from Bianca on vocals online that came in kind of late. And more shows we played with that lineup, we kind of felt like we should, kick out our current singer and pick her up. So we eventually decided to do that, and he ended up stepping down to bass. And then the band moved to Canada, and a bunch of them decided not to come and to pursue other things. So I just came up here, and we formed this ragtag group known as Aria.
No, actually, there isn't much of a story behind the name Aria. We simply just like the name. It's like naming a baby, and we think Aria is a pretty name. Being that I'm from a different city and moving here, in my opinion, I think that the St. Catharines music scene is thriving. I think it's great. I think that it's definitely a place for bands to start off and really make a name for themselves.
On the other hand,
in the Canadian,
and they get some pretty big bands too.
On the other hand, though, like coming from Buffalo, in the States, where there's like 50,000 bands. There's so many bands competing for shows. It's just a way less saturated market up here. It's easier to get kids to come out because there's way fewer bands out there trying to hustle tickets and get kids at their shows. So it definitely works in our favor. And it's also a disadvantage at the same time.
The goal isn't necessarily. Absolutely. I mean, the goal isn't necessarily to be signed. The goal, especially for me, is just to be able to do what I love for a living. And if that means getting signed, then that's what I want to do. I want the success for my band. And
I think a lot of the programming that Anthony does makes our songs unique, or more unique than some.
Just gives like a different touch, like a different kind of feel to some of the songs.
Yeah, not as meat and potatoes.
And like having a really good,
kind of adds that little extra something.
A really good female singer is also a good benefit. I'm just saying. It's true.
Like we've said before in other. I'm gonna cut it. Like we've said before, like we've said before in other interviews, we definitely don't see it as an insult or anything like that when people compare us to those bands, because obviously they're doing something right, and it's definitely for me, it's definitely the stronger vocalists. Throughout the 20 years of my life, it has definitely evolved. First off with pop music, and then I moved on to singers like Amy Lee. And then in high school, Anthony Green and Hayley Williams from Paramore are definitely my strongest influences, vocally.
I've always been really into the stuff that the guitarists from the receiving end of Sirens do. I just, I like to stay up and try to program out my own guitar tones and sit on a laptop and just sonically reshape the guitar. I'd rather it didn't even sound like a guitar sometimes. So I try to do stuff like that. So
I listened to pretty much everything. I was really into a lot of punk rock music when I first started playing drums, like Protest the Hero, I guess, like that techie kind of stuff, Propaganda and stuff like that. A lot more into folk now, I guess. And just take bits and pieces from every genre, I guess, that everybody can find.
I first started out on acoustic guitar, so I know I'm much better at playing acoustic guitar. And my biggest influence is probably Dallas Green. It's because of his in-depth lyrics and his guitar, but I also listen to the opposite of like hardcore music, stuff like that.
I have many influences, but my biggest is probably William Hung.
Plans to release anything yet. Right now we don't have plans to release anything yet. We're currently writing. We're definitely looking forward to doing some tours. We really want to start getting on the road and reaching out to more people in more cities.